What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of bwaynepresents, sponsored by Promarketize. Don't just advertise, Promarketize. As always, I'm your host, B Wayne, and I'm here today with a young lady by the name of Tameria. What's up, Tameria?
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing very well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm good.
Tameria, how old are you and where are you located?
I'm 43 years old and I'm in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. How long have you been single, Tameria?
I've been single almost 6 years now.
Okay. Okay. Have you taken the time to heal, get to know yourself? uh, Basically get yourself situated and prepare yourself to be in a relationship since that time, during that time.
Yes, yes, I have. I did my me work before I started exploring dating and reaching out to even to get back into dating.
I like that. You did your me work. What does that entail? What types of
I,
things did you like, just so if for no other reason, so other young ladies who, are looking to just recently out of a relationship, maybe they might be inspired to do similar things to what you did. What type of things did you do to prepare yourself?
um, Well, one, I was coming out of a divorce. I was married for 7 years. So I had to refine me because a lot of my identity was immersed into a marriage and it became, it's no longer just me, it's a us. So I had to relearn the things that I like, the things that made me happy. I have children. My youngest is from my marriage, and I had to make sure that I felt like I had to make sure that she was okay and that she understood that both parents still loved her and we still be in her life. And mom's dating and dad's dating, and we'll be dating. Nothing changes. It's just more people in the equation to love on you. Um, I I double checked, like, was I ready? I also had to make sure it's very easy to blame the other person for everything. So I had to make sure I understood my responsibility in the divorce and what I did wrong and to fix my ways and to fix my errors so I wouldn't repeat it. Just I had to do some research on my history to make sure history don't repeat itself.
I love it. Um, well said. Well said. I agree with everything that you said. Um, the whole part about learning how to, I guess, be yourself after you were a part of a union for so long, getting back to your independence. Um, you were somebody's wife, you were so and so's wife. And then, well, obviously, you were so and so's girl, then you were so and so's fiance, then you were so and so's wife, then you were so and so's ex, right?
Right.
And then you have to get back to the point where, like, look, I'm just Tamiri. And it takes
Right.
time and it's a process. And I think a lot of people, I've noticed when I was dating, especially a lot of the ladies, they jump back in relationships way too soon after a breakup. Even if it's a situationship, it could be significant after a divorce. There are exceptions. Some of you ladies and gentlemen, we check out during the divorce, during the the relationship, the marriage. Seen it happen. My ex-wife did it. So when she was out, when she got out, she was ready. But that's not typically the case. Typically, it takes time and it's a process, and we don't give ourselves the time that we need. What made you decide that you wanted to give yourself the time as opposed to just jumping back into something else?
Um, History. The person I married was the typical I like being married, but I don't want to do the work to stay married. And I didn't want to repeat that. So and just like you said, I've seen it done. Being a single parent, uh, I've seen ladies and men where they're not even healed or they haven't even got over what they went through, or they didn't even quite understand what they went through. and now they in another situation. So now you done brought that hurt, that resentment that you have for that person into this relationship. That person might not even done anything to you like the last person did, but you're still holding them accountable for the first person. So I didn't want that. I knew that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be able to start a relationship on a clean slate. So in order for me to start on a clean slate, I had to make sure I was clean. I had to make sure my foundation was together. So that's it's important. You can't build on shaky foundation. So I just wanted to make sure my foundation was good.
I commend you. You're a wise woman. And it sounds good and it makes sense, but a lot of women still, a lot of people don't.
Mhm.
I can't speak. I can speak to what I've come across. I can't speak for the men. So I'm gonna say women. And it's not
Right. I
me trying
understand.
to attack women. I don't date men. So I don't know what men do. You can let me know. I've dated women, and the women I dated, a lot of the women I came across, they did not take the time. They had no business on a dating app. They had no business saying yes to a date. They had no business trying to meet somebody, but they're so uninterested for whatever reason in being by themselves long enough to heal that they throw themselves back in another opportunity. And when you are, like you said, on shaky ground, so to speak, you're unhealthy emotionally, mentally, you attract
Mhm.
unhealthy stuff. When you're
Yep.
toxic, you attract toxic stuff. It is when some men see certain things, vulnerabilities and character flaws, because the nature of man can be predatory, we will take advantage of that and however we can. And there's some men who most men are not malicious. Most men, the intent, we just want to get some. And that's it. And if we can get some without causing you if we can get some without causing you any hurt or harm, 95% of men will, if we could take an extra step as we're trying to get with you, if we could do something, go out of our way, and we could get some goods and not cause you any distress, any discomfort, any pain, trauma, then most men would do it. But then there are some men who don't care. And then you have even, other men and lesser men, a less of a percentage of men who are actually they have malicious intent for whatever reason, whether they're sociopaths or they have some sadistic tendencies about them. But showing that vulnerability, you tend to you tend to pull or attract those type of guys. Now
Right.
that now
I
that
agree.
now that you're now that you're healthy and healed and whole, how what type of men have you found yourself coming across since you've begun dating? What have your experiences been like?
I'm still single. So I haven't had the best. I haven't had the best experience, but I'm not I haven't had the best experience, but I'm not a casualty to those experiences because I was able to catch it in the beginning. So if I'm talking to someone like example, I was talking to a young man, just asking questions. I have kids. Do you have kids? Well, how old are your kids? And he tells me he have a 1 month old. A 1 month old? No, I'm good. Wait, yeah, I'm gonna have to step back from you because she hasn't even had her 6 weeks checkup. So how y'all not together and you have a 1 year old? So you're not over her. You just trying to fill. I feel like you're just trying to fill the void, and that's not what I'm here for. I know what I want. I know what I'm looking for. So if women that and I'm gonna say women because I'm a female and I don't know how it works. Like you said, I don't know how the process works for men, but I know how the process works for women. If you don't get yourself together, you will be you will I don't want to say fall like they're easy, but you will fall for anything. Like if I wasn't aware of what I wanted and things that I guess my do's and don't list or whatnot, not to put it that way, but to use that term, my do's and don't list, I might have been someone that could have been optimistic and be like, oh yeah, we can do it. Then now I'm in the middle of baby mama, baby daddy drama. My kids are up in age, my kids are up in age, and I don't believe in baby mama, baby daddy drama. My kids, they have their father, they have their mother. and they have their step parents, and they're there to build. If you're not there to add to, then I mean, I don't need you to be their father. They have a father, but I need you to be able to understand, like, hey, she has children. This is what comes along with it. And be man enough or mature enough. I'm not going to say man enough, to be mature enough to say, hey, this is more than what I can handle. My youngest is 11. A 1 month old is more than I can handle. So I'm not going to even put myself in that predicament to even try and pretend like I can understand what you're going through, because no, I ain't been there in 11 years. So I'm not going to pretend with you. So yeah, I just feel like if you're not healed, you will put yourself in predicaments that you should have never been in. And then now you add more pain, and you add more hate for men. And you're like, oh, these men are no good. No, he came to the table no good. You knew he was no good. You were just hoping you can change him into something different. So that's, I feel like that's our responsibility. Taking accountability. You knew what he had. He told you. You just thought you was Houdini and you can change it. So
You know you preaching, right?
no, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but
I don't mean you preaching. I mean you preaching. You are preaching.
um,
And I love what you said about, I love the fact that you, at first you were like, as a man, and then you said, no, I don't want to say as a man. I want to change that. He wasn't mature enough. Not that he wasn't man enough, he wasn't mature enough. Because a lot of women need to understand, you ladies need to understand something. Men are frustrated and men are tired because y'all have been talking trash about us and whining about us and complaining about us and telling us what we gonna do and what we not gonna do and what you want from us and what you don't want from us. And men are tired. And one of the things that men are tired of and frustrated with is attacks on our manhood and attacks on our masculinity. And so
mhm,
every time a woman tries to tell a dude, anything, any attack on his masculinity and manhood, whether y'all calling us insecure, which you realize it or not, that's an attack on a man's
mhm,
masculinity in our minds, right? To say our ego, our manhood, our masculinity, um, he's not man enough to do this. If he was a real man, this, that, and the third, when you really should utilize terms like being mature enough.
mhm,
Um, does he have the emotional maturity? Is he capable? Does he have wisdom? Does he have integrity, honor, courage? These are the things that y'all should be looking for. Those are the traits that women should be looking for. But instead, his swag. How tall is
right,
he? How much money does he make? So you get what you get. And
right.
then you
I
turn
agree.
around, like Tameria is saying, knowing off the rip what type of dude this dude most likely is, and you decide to get involved anyway, knowing what most likely will be the likely outcome. And then you want to get mad and blame all men for the decisions that you made because there's no accountability with women. That's something else that men are frustrated with. What made you decide that you were going to be different and accountability wasn't ooh, like it wasn't a word that scared you, and it was something that you decided, you know what, I'm a grown woman. Yes, accountability is a part of what we do need to accept as women. What made you different? Because to men, a lot of women don't want to accept accountability and responsibility for their actions.
Um, to be honest, I don't have like a direct answer for that. So I guess I could contribute to the fact that I'm the youngest of five. So I watch my siblings like mess up and do things, and I'd be like, I don't want to do that. Um, I'm the type of person where I'm gonna try it once. If I don't like it, I ain't doing it again. Or if it hurts, I'm not doing it again. If I burn my hand, I don't want to do it again. And in order for me not to do it again, I have to know what was done not to do it again. So if I'm in denial about, oh, me touching the stove is not the reason why I burnt my hand, so now I'm gonna put my face on it, that doesn't make sense.
It
You
sounds
have
so simple. It sounds so simple. It almost sounds like it's not hard at all. Like it's really, really easy. Like it makes too much sense. It sounds like it makes too much sense. but these are some of the things that men sit around and we look at each other like, I can't, like, are you serious? Because something that simple, there seem to be a lot of women out there who don't really understand the simplicity of not doing the same thing or doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You know what that's called?
Insanity. You're insane.
100%. 100%.
That's I tell that to my kids all the time. An insane person will continue to do the same thing and expect a different outcome. You lost your mind thinking that you could keep pushing this ball up the hill and it's going to get lighter. No, it's going to be just as hard as it was yesterday. If you're doing the same thing that you was doing yesterday, it's going to be the same thing. If you wake up at 7:30, you're going to be late. Why would you wake up at 7:30? Wake up at 7:15. Wake up at 7 o'clock. Hell, wake up at 7:20. You'll be surprised how much 10 minutes difference. And it's not like, I don't know, maybe it's me. I'm gonna take my accountability. You don't have to make huge changes to make a difference in yourself. Little bitty small changes will make a huge impact on how you see things. If you just step back and be like, hey, okay, let me look at it from another perspective. Let me look at it from somebody else's viewpoint. If, say, if I was to blame for everything bad that ever happened in my life, what can I do to fix it? Once you look at it that way, like, hey, nobody else can help you with this situation. Nobody else can help you with this problem. The only person that can help you is yourself. What can you do to fix it? Even if it's a small thing. Hey, I'm gonna get up and brush my teeth every day. I know that's something we're supposed to do or we should do, but you'll be surprised. So let me just start there. Once you start there, that will start the process of you wanting to do, hey, I look good. I feel good. Let me wash my face. Let me comb my hair. Oh, you know what? Let me go walk around the block for an hour. Oh, I don't lost a pound walking around the block for an hour. It's small things that can make a huge difference and give you and open your eyes to bigger things. But once we focus on a small picture of me, what can I do? What you my mom used to tell me all the time, worry about you, worry about yourself. It's me and yourself. Don't worry about nobody else. Worry about you. And once you worry about you, because that's the only person you can fix. I used to tell my soldiers all the time, the only person that can fix you is you. You can have 10 people say you stink. Number 10 people not gonna throw you in the shower. Only you can be like, hey, maybe they right. Maybe I do stink. Maybe I do need to get in the shower. And then once you take that shower, you be like, oh yeah, I smell completely different today than what I smelled yesterday. And I like this smell better than yesterday. Then you're better. And then I believe in counseling. I believe in going to counseling. I believe in good mental health because your mind controls everything. If your mind not together, nothing else is gonna work. And mental health. And in mental health, you have to work on things that you can control. I can't control what Tim, Matthew, and John did. I only can control what Tameria did. Now, I don't like what they did, but I have to make a situation or a plan for myself to where their actions don't affect me or don't dictate. I don't know. And then sometimes my mom be like, oh, you so militant. You so scientific. Well, that doesn't make sense. Now, how did that work? And I'm like, no, it's not that. It's just I'm only handling things that I can control. I'm only allowing things that affect me that I can control. So I can't control
I,
that I'm not 110 and 5'2" or whatever. Let me control what I can control. So that's just my logic of it. I think that's my point of being responsible, taking accountability. I can't take accountability for other people. I mean, I can be responsible for other people, but I can't dictate what they do. I can suggest what they do, but I definitely can dictate and suggest what I do. So that's just my logic of it. I don't know.
you got to
Maybe
control the controllables, as if there's something wrong with having a scientific mind or a militant mind. You have to control the controllables. You have to become a master of your own universe And that
Yeah.
starts with what's going on the inside of you. In order to have any type of impact on the world around you, you have to first be able to master your own thoughts and your own feelings. And your thoughts control your feelings, and your feelings control your actions. So if you control your thoughts, then you can control what you do. And if you can control what you do, then you can begin to impact everyone else around you. And you can begin to keep the things away from you that you don't need around you, and begin to invite things that are helpful and positive and beneficial to your purpose and who you're trying to be. No matter what goes on in my life, I always look at what I did. I don't care what
Right.
happened. I don't care if I'm walking down the street and somebody just walk up out of the blue and just snuff me for no reason. I'm like, damn, dude just hit me. I never seen a dude before. I'm going to, in my mind, figure out, okay, well, I need to be more alert. I need to pay attention a little bit better when I'm walking around. Maybe I shouldn't be
Yeah.
in this area. Maybe, it doesn't matter. You can only react and respond to what other people do. You have to be accountable for the actions and decisions that you make. And when you see outcomes becoming negative, especially repeatedly, you have to
Right.
change and alter and modify your behavior, because whatever you put out, it's going to come back.
You're going to get, yeah, yeah, I
You
agree.
will
I
forever
agree.
reap what you sow. I don't care what religion or ideology, whatever you believe, whatever you put out into the universe,
Hmm.
whatever you do, whatever energy you put out, however you treat people, however you treat yourself, carry and conduct yourself, you're going to put something out that's going to be an energy, and the energy is going to turn into manifest or create or allow whatever you put out to come back and have an impact on you that is equal to what you put out into the world, right?
I agree. I agree with you.
Let's talk about you, a little bit more about you. What do you like? What makes you happy? What do you do for fun?
Well, I love to travel. I like to cook, but if I don't have to cook, I prefer not to. But I can cook. I like trying new recipes, something different. I just learned how to play pool, so I'm trying to get better at pool. I love to read. Matter of fact, the book that I'm
Name,
reading, huh?
go ahead. Go ahead. I was about to ask you to name a good book. What? Go ahead.
Okay, the name of the book that I'm reading right now is Atomic Habits. So,
Okay. By who? By who?
good job. James Clear.
Okay.
Um,
What's it about?
it's about breaking bad habits and starting good habits of how to tiny. I literally, and I just read it looking at the cover of the books. Tiny changes, remarkable results.
Okay.
So it's about how you can revamp yourself, like how, like I have an issue with drinking Coca-Colas. I drink a lot of Coca-Colas, an ungodly amount of Coca-Colas. Now I don't like Sprites or anything else like that. It's just Coca-Colas. They got me in a chokehold, so I'm trying to stop drinking Coca-Colas. And so I was like, and it's hard. I can make it. I've made it, what, 21 days, or I think I made like 30 days, and then something that happened and I'd be like, nope, I need a Coca-Cola. So I in reading this book, that's why I got the book, so I can figure out why I can't get this habit of drinking Coca-Cola. I don't have any other habits. I don't drink. I mean, I'm a social drinker. I don't smoke, never participated in any drugs, anything like that. So, but Coca-Cola, that is my kryptonite. Um, I love to I love outdoors. I love sports. I used to play soccer a little bit in the military in high school. Um I keep saying because I don't know why I didn't think of this before. I apologize. I like to learn new things. I'm not a big history buff, but I don't mind learning about history or learning something new. I'm not a club. I don't club. I don't mind going to a lounge or a bar. I'm not a homebody, but I love my home too. I don't mind being home. Um, and my kids, they're my, well, I should say my child, because mother two are older. My daughter, she's very active. So I'm at her school or participate. Now, why you had to go get that? Messed up my whole train of thought. I was doing good until I looked down and saw that Coca-Cola.
Drink Coke, y'all. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. That was horrible. And Coke is not giving me no money for that. That out. Leave them
Right.
sodas alone. I'm sorry. That was terrible of me. Okay, my bad.
But
Look, it's all mental. It's all mental. It really is. And once you realize, and this is when it comes to absolutely anything. It all begins with the shout out to James Clear, author of Atomic Habits.
yes.
Okay, for me, Joyce Meyer. Shout out to Joyce Meyer, Battlefield of the Mind. Best book
Okay.
I ever read. Um, she's dope. She's a pastor. It's a very dope book. You don't have to be religious or spiritual to receive benefits from the book. But the war is in the mind, and some of it is spiritual and some of it is chemical. To me, this is me speaking, not Joyce. I'm not quoting her. Some of it is spiritual, some of it is mental, is chemical. But at the end of the day, learning how to learning what you're capable of, like you're a soldier, right? And shout
Yes.
out to the soldiers out there, and thank you for what you do and for your service. Um, Shout out to all the soldiers. We salute you and we appreciate you guys and ladies for what y'all do for this great nation. Um, y'all had the tower. You had to do the tower to go through basic.
Yes. When was it basic? Yes.
So a lot of times you get on that tower and you could be afraid of heights and you may not want to get over that. You know what I'm saying? And then you whatever that obstacle is, a lot of times you don't know what you're capable of until you do it.
True.
We've been through seasons. There are different people. You've been through a season in your life where you was this close to pushing the button. And it was but the grace of God that you didn't take, pop all of those pills, or you didn't pull that trigger, or you didn't slit your wrist, or, whatever have you. There was a breaking point with that job, that career, and you wanted to leave and you weren't going to come back. The manager talking to you crazy and you didn't know what you were going to do, but you wasn't coming back, but you did. That we all have those points, and then you get over that obstacle, whatever it is, and you realize that there's nothing that we can't overcome. There's nothing that we can't achieve. There's nothing, by the grace of God and with the help of God, we can do anything. And a lot of times you need those obstacles to remind you, hey, I did that, I can do this too.
Right.
You made it through boot, you was a soldier, you did your tour. A lot of people probably didn't think you could have done that, and you did. You raised kids, probably the majority of the time on your own. Maybe there were times where you didn't think you were going to do that, and you did. So you beat those things. You can beat this.
Oh
I got
yeah.
faith
Most
in you.
definitely.
I believe in you. Look, let's talk a little bit about the type of guy who would catch your eye, who would catch your attention. What types of qualities does he possess? That type of dude that you would be interested in getting to know.
um, I'm not an appearance person. So it's not like I have a preference of 6'4", 180 pounds. I don't have a preference like that. I'm looking for someone that is self-aware, that have confidence in him, that knows what he wants, and mature enough, and just is in the state of maturity to where he's willing to learn and love someone else other than himself or the people he grew up with. Um, I'm looking for someone that can be honest, either with, honest with me and honest with himself. I'm not everybody cup of tea. I can understand that. I just need you to be honest enough to know, be like, hey, you'll be a good friend, but I don't see anything past that. Um, someone that can be someone that I can be honest with. So even if I come to him and I'd be like, hey, I don't see anything past us being friends, we can understand that. That's someone I'm looking for, someone that self-aware. Um, someone that's honest. I know I said that before. Honesty goes a long way. And someone that's really to communicate. And in order to communicate, they have to be a listener also. Someone that's willing to listen and hear me out. The same way that I'm willing to listen to him and hear him out in order for us to effectively communicate. Uh, and I know it sounds bad, but someone that's just willing to take a chance, because it seems like right now nobody wants to be vulnerable. Nobody wants to come out of their shell or break a wall so they can grow with somebody. Um, I'm not going to say I'm in that place of where I need work. But when you're getting with someone new, that's a place of work. You know, that's a place of growth. If you're willing to grow and build with someone, that's what I'm looking for. Someone that's willing to grow and build. And they don't mind that I have children. I have three. My oldest is 23, my son is 19, and my youngest is 11. Um, Someone that's not afraid of older kids. Just to throw it out there, my kids are respectful. You know, they mindful. They mind their manners. I've ran into some kids that are not respectful and do not mind their manners, and I can understand where there's a deal breaker. But just someone that's willing to be in love and work on being in a loving relationship.
That sounds simple. And I appreciate that you added self-aware. That's a big deal. I feel like a lot of the qualities and criteria that women have are very mm, juvenile, for lack of a better word. Men too, men and women.
Yeah,
We have like juvenile, very shallow, very superficial criteria for meeting someone. And you're right, we are at a place where people don't want to be vulnerable anymore. They're not willing to. And I think there's a lot of people have made so many mistakes and they're afraid to get hurt. They're afraid to waste their time. But here's the thing, something that both you and I have touched on in this conversation. If you've grown and you've learned the lessons from what you have experienced, whether they were your learning from your own mistakes or learning from the mistakes of your older siblings or a
mhm,
celebrity that you saw on TV or whatever, whoever, your friends, family, whatever have you, there should be growth. You shouldn't be making the same mistakes over and over again.
I
I'm
agree.
confident. I'm very confident that if I were to put myself back out there as far as dating, I know what to look for. I know what to dismiss. I know what is good for me, and I know what's not good for me. I know what is. I can take an a tactical risk to put it in a military term. I can take a tactical risk because you determine the risk assessment based upon what you've learned and what you can glean from this individual that you're dealing with. But a lot of people don't understand themselves. They're still not healthy and they don't know how to read
Mhm.
people effectively. So I don't know. It makes it tricky. And that's why they end up going through the same thing over and over again, or they just end up
Yep.
giving up and sitting on the sideline.
Yeah,
Now,
I agree.
are you interested? You're done with kids. You don't want any more babies, right?
I don't want any more babies, but if the Lord see fit for me to be with someone that has someone younger than my youngest, then that's not a deal breaker.
Okay.
But I don't I don't want to be with someone that doesn't have any kids and they're looking for me to have kids. I'm
Roger
almost
that. Fair enough.
I'm almost
Yeah.
45. That's a deal breaker for me. I'm not in the place of my life where I can have more kids. No.
Okay. So that's fair enough. That's understandable. Um, do you want to be married or
I do. I want to be married. My goal, I have a purpose for dating. My purpose for dating is the end game is to be married. Um, I'm not saying, and when I say that, I just feel like I have to put a disclaimer on it. I don't want to scare anybody because when people be like, "Oh, my end game is to get married," it's like they want to be married in 3 weeks. No, that's not men and women. I've run into people that have that logic, but my end game is once we grow and we see where we're going. Yes, I would love to be married. I don't have a bad. I believe in black love. I do. I don't have a I don't have a sour look on marriage, even though mine didn't work out. I just I still feel like it's in the cards for me. It's still out there for me. And I believe in marriage. I believe, nowadays people be like, marriage is just a piece of paper. It's an important piece of paper. It is
The
not
Declaration of
only
Independence is the
it's not
Constitution is a
only
piece of
just
paper
a
as well.
exactly. It's not just a piece of paper. That just it's like it's a contract. It's a agreed commitment that you
That
have to
warrant some
work
of y'all
on
got,
day to day.
that's a
I
piece
didn't
of
hear you.
paper too. That
Huh?
warrant, that warrant that some of y'all boyfriends and exes got, that's a piece of paper too. Go ahead. I'm
Is
sorry.
exactly that restraining order you got is a piece of paper too. So I agree with you. I agree. But that piece of paper holds a lot of weight. So I believe in that piece of paper. So
What would you like to say? You spit a lot of wisdom, Tameria. I really appreciate your time. It really has been a pleasure hearing a young lady such as yourself who has it together. You're not perfect. None of us are, but you have a lot of wisdom about you. And I can tell that you put in some work and some time into your healing. And it shows and it's obvious and apparent. And that's what a lot of men are looking for in this day and age. Um, what would you like to say to the ladies out there as a word of inspiration, encouragement, uh, anything that you want to say to the ladies out here that might be hopeful that they could find somebody in there, trying to get themselves to a point where they're ready to meet that person?
um my advice would be don't give up. Love is out there. Everything comes in due time. Everybody have their season. Your season could be around the corner. Right when you get ready to give up, that that's your season. That's when your your mate will come. I'm a firm believer. If you want something, you have to work on it. Nothing comes easy. I don't feel a relationship should come easy. If it came easy, everybody would be in one. But it's just take your time. Don't rush into anything. If something don't feel right, go with your gut instinct. If you don't feel comfortable in it, go with your instincts. Something's not right. Don't go digging for it. But I'm a firm believer. Everything done in the dark will come to the light. Be patient. Work on you. Um, the work on you is a very hard process. It's a very lonely process, but it's a much needed process in order for you to get what you want. Just like track stars, it's a very hard process. It takes a lot of training. You have to eat right, you have to exercise, you have to practice. There's a lot of training in it. There's no fun in it. You might have to miss out on that party. You might have to miss out on that slice of pizza, but your end goal is much better. So dating is the same way. You have to work on yourself in order to get that partner you want. That's just my advice.
And we got some technical issues at the very end of that. After
I'm
you
sorry.
said you might admit, no, no, it's fine. It happens. After you said you may have to miss out on that slice of pizza.
Oh, I had said, after you miss out on that slice of pizza, um, but you may have to miss out on that slice of pizza, but your end goal is much greater than that pizza or what you miss. I feel relationships are the same way. You have to put in that work. You might have to miss going to the club or going out with Joe or whatnot because you want something lasting. You don't want something that's around the corner. You can't, I'm a firm believer, you can't get your blessing if you're holding on to if your hands are full with other things. So you have to have yourself open and available. You have to go through your season of loneliness if and you have to go through your season of loneliness in order to get what you're looking for. And another thing that I tell my children all the time, if you can't stand your own company, how you want somebody else to be with you? So you got to learn how to enjoy you and learn what you want in order for you to be able to express that to someone else, in order for you to demand that to someone else. Because if you don't know what you want to eat, how you gonna make me get you something to eat if you don't even know what you want to eat? So
And if you don't love yourself, then how can you expect somebody else to love you?
I love you.
And how would you
Exactly.
even recognize what they're bringing you as love if you don't really understand what true love
What
is? For
love
me,
is, right.
that's having a relationship with God because there's no more truer and pure, real um, true relationship, true love than the love of God, right?
I
But if you
agree.
plug into that, man, we can't match that. We won't ever match his love, not at least in this plane of existence. However, when you've tapped in and felt the presence of God, when you understand how God loves us, then at least you can recognize very easily what does not resemble that, and you can remove it and dismiss it and not waste your time and not get embroiled in a situation that you end up having to recover from. To the men, what would you want to say to the fellas out here that are interested in finding the right person, or just words of encouragement, because you were a soldier, you had soldiers under you. So, what would you, as a lesson, as some correction, as some guidance, some respectful um critiques or whatever have you, just to give the fellas some motivation, what would you want to say to them?
It's good women out there. It's I know it looks slim, just like how from the women's perspective, good men look slim. We're out there. We there's women out there that's not about finance or what car you drive or whatnot. It's women that believe that if you're the right person, we can work and build together and get those material things. Don't let what she did interrupt what the next one can do. Don't hold grudges. I feel like some men can hold grudges, and women do too. Not saying this one sense, but I feel like some men hold grudges towards they from their past relationship. You got to let it go, and you have to learn how to be vulnerable. There's a difference with being vulnerable and being a sucker. You know, some men feel like, oh, if I'm vulnerable, I'm a sucker. Oh, she gonna use me. No, you just came out of a you just came you say you just came out of a relationship where she just used you for your money. You was a sucker then and you wasn't vulnerable. There's a big difference in between being open and honest and guarded and closed. You just have to open up. If it's worth it, you haven't just like how women got to put that work in, y'all have to put that work in too. Work on yourself. Know what you want. Know your I'm a firm believer on both sides. Know your place. Know your worth. Just like I want a woman to know her worth. Just like how these women come out here. I want to 6'4", this. If you want somebody that's 5'2", a buck 05, know your worth. Know what you can get. If you 5'5" and 700 pounds, I don't think you can ask for that.
Don't do that. Don't do
So
that.
you got to put your work in order to get what you want. So it's out there. I'm sorry not to prolong your time, but when you had said something about God is the greatest love that you can receive, I grew up in the church, and I have I have mothers that, the mothers of the church that always taught to us about relationships and everything like that. And I have one, she's like my grandma, and she through my divorce, she guided me through my divorce and through my healing process. And we was talking one day, and she was asking me, "Well, what type of man you want?" I was like, "I want somebody like Bo. I want a Boaz. I want my Boaz." And she looked at me. She said, "Okay, but are you a Ruth? All these women want a Boaz, but are you a Ruth? Are you willing to stand still long enough for God to bring you your Boaz? Are you willing enough to be humble? And are you deserving? Because everybody not deserving of a Boaz." So that's another reason why I stepped back and I had to do my self-reflection and be like, man, I got all these criteria and what I want. Am I deserving of what I'm asking for? So let me put myself in a position to where I'm deserving to receive that. So that could be another answer on why I take accountability. I'm so hard on taking accountability.
And for
Excuse.
me, the way to circumvent that, for me, I learned a while ago, I'm gonna learn to want only what God has for me and nothing that He doesn't. Because not everybody is gonna get married. Unfortunately, not everybody is gonna
All right.
have a great marriage. Some people are gonna end up alone. Some people are gonna end up separated. Some people are gonna end up divorced. Some people are gonna end up
True.
divorced multiple times, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's outside of God's will. Like Jesus going through what He went through was horrendous from
Yes.
from the moment that they captured Him. until his death and resurrection. Um, it was bad. It was all bad, but it was God's will. It was necessary. A lot of what Job, what Job went through. Like we're gonna go through some stuff that we would rather not go through. And bottom
True.
line, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're outside of God's will. Pain is a part of the process. So some of us, are going to end up with that fairy tale, that storybook, and some of us will not.
True.
And it's okay either way, as long as we have Him. And I'm talking about Christ. That's my opinion. I ain't speaking on behalf of Tameria because I don't know what she believes. But if we have Christ, then we have everything we need. And you have to get to a point where you want only what God wants for you and nothing that He doesn't. And if you can get to the point where you only want the things that God wants for you anyway, then that is the key to getting anything and everything that you would ever want in this world and in this life. Last words, Tamiria. It has been a pleasure, by the way. Thank you so much for your time. The floor is yours. Last words.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed you. This was less scary than what I thought it would be. So thank you for making me feel comfortable. I'm really appreciative and keep up the good work. I appreciate it so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you. God bless you. Talk to you soon.
Bless. Thank you. Bye bye.